Is your water doing you any good? Because not all water is the same. Welcome to the Well Life podcast, where today we'll explore live water and dead water and how you can know the difference. Have you ever felt frustrated by unanswered health mysteries or treatments that only mask the problem? Our guest expert, Robin Colvey, knows that struggle all too well. Growing up on a 6-acre ranch, she enjoyed a wholesome upbringing with fresh vegetables, grass-fed beef, and raw goat's milk. But despite this foundation, she endured the heartbreak of losing loved ones to preventable diseases like Parkinson's, heart disease, Alzheimer's, and cancer. Determined to find the real answers, Robin began a journey that would change her life and countless others. Today, Robin is a certified functional nutrition counselor with a passion for helping her clients uncover the root causes of their health issues. Whether it's through hydrogen-rich water, her vibrogenic sound healing machines, brain tap sessions, or her online gut health course, Robin empowers people to stop band-aiding their symptoms and start living vibrantly. In this episode, Robin shares her incredible journey, the science behind her methods, and how she's helping others find relief and true healing. Tune in for a conversation that could transform how you think about wellness and inspire you to take control of your health. Let's grow. Welcome to The Well Life, a podcast dedicated to embracing all aspects of healthy living. Going beyond diet and fitness, we'll cover a broad spectrum of wellness, bringing together the best in holistic living and mindful practices so you can create a well-rounded approach to a healthier lifestyle. I'm Sheila Alston, and I'm the founder of a wellness real estate marketing company called Healthy Home Media. I'm on a mission to help you take charge of your health. So on The Well Life, we'll be bringing you everything from alternative healers to healthy home strategies so you can learn and experience different healing modalities for yourself and know what to do in your home environment to thrive. True well-being isn't just about losing weight. It's about realizing that you have the power to shape what you bring into your home and into your life. Get ready to learn something new each and every episode. Tune into The Well Life, where nothing feels better than healthy, vibrant living. Let's grow. I'm so excited today because I have Robin Colvey again on the show. She's a certified functional nutrition counselor, and she's the founder and owner of Lifetime Water in Solana Beach, California. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you, dear. So happy to have you and me together.
I
Such a
know.
fun duo, right?
Exactly. So tell us, for the people who don't know who you are, who haven't heard your previous show from a while back, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became so passionate about water and healthy living.
Well, it basically goes way back to when a friend had invited me. I've always been interested in health, no matter what, but a friend had invited me to learn about water, and I tried not to roll my eyes. I'm like, water, okay, this is not going to be interesting. But the interesting thing is, when I went to this meeting, I sat and drank these two tall red glasses of water. That's more water than I've ever drank at a sitting. And I felt this vibrancy. My brain just kind of went pop, pop, pop. And I felt this surge of energy. And I thought, wait a minute, I need to pay attention. What are they talking about here? And the person that was doing the introduction had shared that this has been water that had been used in the top 15 to 18 hospitals in Japan for 47 years. And I thought, well, wait a minute. Japanese, they're so advanced. So then I became completely curious. And at that point, the timing couldn't have been better because I had already spent $5,000 in a year and a half working with anybody and everyone to try to fix my sciatica. I had a horrific sciatica, 24 hours a day. And 3 days on the water, I woke up and it was gone. And of course, being the
Wow.
skeptic, but not a cynic, I went, you know what? Water cannot do that. So I
Mhm.
drank it for about a week and then I got off it because I said, water can't make that difference. And sure enough, in 2 days, the sciatica was back. So that started me
Wow.
very curious.
Mhm.
And so I thought, well, let me start doing some researching. And I just kept drinking it, doing more research. And then I started sharing it with friends and family. And they were coming back, filling back up, and they go, I'm sleeping better. And they go, is it the water? I go, gosh, I guess so. And
Mhm.
then my three daughters, all of them have psoriasis, and they've been on the water for 2 weeks and their psoriasis is gone. Is it really the water? I go, gosh, I guess so. And so it just continued from there and sharing it and having these great results. And so then I decided about 7 years ago to open my little water store
Mhm.
because I thought, you know what? The world's got to find out about this because this had been a huge journey for me. So that's how it actually all got started.
Yeah, well, because not all water is the same.
Correct. And
Right.
that's what you're going to really learn about on this podcast. So, yeah, I'm going to be happy to share that.
Right. Well, so before you do that, though, I know that you used to grow up on a farm, and so I'm curious about how farm living kind of shaped your vision on health as it is today.
Yeah, so we were basically raised on goat's milk, and we had our own meat. You know, we butchered our own meat and raised amazing cattle, just a few.
Mhm.
And then we also had our garden. And so I was just used to having really good quality food. And my mom was really health oriented. So that was kind of my world. It was a big family. We had nine, and I was the oldest girl. But there was always seems to be some kind of interesting discussion about health. And so that's what actually got me started. And then unfortunately, my grandmother, who I was very, very close to at the age of 14, she died from Parkinson's. And I remember distinctly, I can even tell you where I was standing in our family room. And I remember thinking, why can't I help her? I felt so hopeless and so frustrated. And then it just continued from there. My dad passed away from heart disease at 57. My dear, sweet, amazing sister at 59 from cancer. My mom at 69 from cancer and Parkinson's. And then my aunt had Parkinson and Alzheimer's. So she passed away around 76 or so. But all of them, as all these things kept going, I couldn't do anything. So I just kept asking divinely, to be really honest, can you start to show me something? But wow, nothing popped up for years until this water at the, things show up at the right time in the right place, right? And so this made
Right.
such a huge difference. And I laughed. I thought, water, that's too easy. So
Right.
that kept me going on my journey. So the water store continued, and then I continued years and years of research because, like I said, I'm not a cynic, but I am a skeptic. I'm always curious about things.
Well, and things have changed, in the past 50 or 60 years too, with our conventional foods and maybe even the
Mhm.
water in this, maybe the water you were drinking as a child is different than the water that we're drinking now. Who
Well, it's going
knows?
to have more toxins,
Yeah.
unequivocally. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that part has completely changed for sure. Like every year, there was a study in Sweden with 1,500 people, and what they did is they looked at their cells and how many toxins were per cell. And in 2008, there were 50 toxins per cell. And at that, you go, oh my God, that's horrific. 10 years later, they brought the same people back. They tested their cells again, and there was 500 toxins per cell.
Oh, wow.
So we need something that helps remove these toxins and helps
Mhm.
change the charge on our cells. And that's exactly what this water does.
This water actually changes how the toxins that are attacking the cells.
Mhm.
Okay, so you need to tell us a little bit about
Okay. So
that.
wait, maybe let's go back. Let's get the history of
Yeah.
this. So basically,
Yes.
this all came about because there were Russian scientists. I think this was the mid 40s or so, late 40s, went up to the Himalayas because they had heard that the Hunza population that lives up there lived to 110 and 115. And of course, it's that longevity chase. And they noticed that their food was amazing, but then they decided, let's look at this amazing water that they're drinking in these waterfalls. And they saw when they looked at it underneath the microscope that the crystalline structure of it was different, and they knew they couldn't bring the world up to the Himalayas. So then what they decided to do was, how could we create a machine that duplicates the charge that's in these water molecules? They didn't master it, but the Japanese heard about it and they snatched up the technology and they mastered it. So these monstrous machines that are in these hospitals are $800,000 machines. But then there was a Japanese gentleman that worked for Sony 30 years ago, and he would go to these hospitals and see long lines of people with water jugs, and he asked the people in the hospital, what are these people doing? And they said, we give our water away for free that we give to our patients all day long. And so his light bulb went on and he bought the company because he thought, this is crazy. We'll keep these huge machines in the hospitals, but then we'll shrink it down and create household size machines. And that's how it actually all got started.
And so these machines are putting a charge on the water. Maybe you can explain a little bit about that. Because what is the
Yeah.
difference between the spring water
Well,
and regular
here's the
water?
thing. If we could, we would continue to drink the spring water because that's the perfect water for us. It's naturally carries a charge. The minerals that are in it that are collected as streams are rolling around past rocks, those are charged minerals. It's perfect for the human body, but the problem is we can't drink this anymore. So this water is the closest thing to that duplication. So what they did is they figured out which metals, which is titanium and platinum, are the best metals inside this machine. And you know how don't want to get too sciencey, but you know how water's H2O. Well, those two hydrogen molecules, when they hit this platinum, they freely release what is called negative electrons. And you go, well, what the heck are the negative electrons? A healthy cell has 8 negative electrons. And as soon as it loses one, it's an oxidized cell. And what this water does is you're drinking it continuously, it releases its negative electrons that the hydrogen donated. So it's really incredibly ingenious and it's so beneficial for the body. And like I tell people, what it does is as you stay on it over time, it's like a teeter-totter. Your body becomes more and more balanced. And again, everybody is different and you know you've been drinking it, so you know your differences with it. But that's the basics of it. So it's basically we are charged beings. So what this is doing is replenishing our charge, the charge of our cells.
Right. So is it similar to having blueberries because they say that's antioxidant?
It is, but that's a very short-term antioxidant. And the beauty of hydrogen, it is the perfect antioxidant because like when we eat blueberries, once they're used, they become oxidized. Okay, so then our body has to process those oxidized molecules from the blueberries. The beauty of hydrogen is the cells use it and there's nothing left over for our body to process. So it's the most beautiful, most perfect antioxidant you could ever find. And that's another huge advantage of it.
Right. Our bodies are made of mostly water. So we
Correct.
need to keep replenishing that water.
Exactly. And, you know, that was my journey. I was spending so much money and so much time. I was going to find the right doctor, come hell or high water, right? I was going to find the perfect naturopath or specialist or doctor, always thinking they'll have the answer, they'll give me the magic pill, or they'll give me the perfect supplement. Nothing ever changed. I kept paying and going and meeting and all that. And then I thought, well, let me start to do some of these biohacks because maybe there's the perfect biohack. But again, nothing, those were all good things. I'm going to always biohack. I'm going to always keep doing good, healthy things, but nothing moved the needle like this water did.
Well, I think it's foundational, right? So once you have the water and you're replenishing your body with good water and you are, replacing those electrons that are missing. So you don't have, is it the free radicals that are in our bodies you're trying to get rid of the free radicals
Exactly.
okay.
It's exactly what you're trying to do because that's what disease is. Like somebody says, what's cancer? Cancer is a body that has a preponderance, okay, of oxidized cells. And they just
Oh.
keep building up and building up and building up. Yeah.
So that makes me curious. Have you had any clients who are undergoing chemo where they drink the water and it's helping with their progress, or do you know anything like that?
100%. I mean, that's to be really, really honest, that's a large part of the reason I really went with this because I had those family members that had the Parkinson's and cancer, and I was always going, there has got to be something out there that can help. And again, this is my personal experience. So I'm not making promises or anything like that, but my personal experience is, yes, I actually have 3 people right now that are doing really well. And
Well,
a couple
and
of them
it's not,
have piggybacked this with their chemo.
yeah, because you're not saying don't do chemo. You're just saying find ways to support your healing. And I think,
Exactly.
right? I think that
Mhm.
having this water that's so foundational to our health and wellness, and if you can improve that and not get, I mean, tap water, what's the difference between tap water and like just bottled plastic water compared to this water?
Not really anything, to be honest. So when I do test water at my store, so basically, one, you're dealing with the plastics. So it's 70 degrees, which all plastic bottles have been exposed to. You've got those xenoestrogens that are being released. So that's never a good thing because that's just, disrupting our home hormones. And all it is filtered water. Even though they have fancy names on them and whatnot, they're just filtered water. And when they say they're alkaline, all they've added, if people will just turn around the back of the bottle and read it, they'll see things like sodium bicarbonate. Well, that's baking soda. Well, why am I adding baking soda to my water? So they can put the label on it that says alkaline. But
Mm.
again, those are lab produced minerals. What we're looking for is, yes, we want to use tap water because it does have charged minerals, but we want the toxins filtered out, which is exactly what we do. And then we want to retain the charged minerals that our body recognizes and uses. Okay. But
Hmm.
with bottled water, it's filtered and it's basically dead water. The Japanese call all bottled water dead water because the charge has been completely removed and some other things have been put into it that are really artificial to the body.
Right. Okay, I know this is a podcast, and I didn't tell you that I was going to ask you this question. But
Uh-oh.
for those people who are watching YouTube, can we show the charge with the electrical light? Okay, I'm so excited because now you've just got your test bulb ready. So tell us what this is.
So basically, if water does carry a charge, it should light up this electrical light bulb. So it's really
Oh.
pretty simple. So this is the water at our store, okay?
Hmm.
And let me put this
Can you
in.
move it so it's in front of the screen a little bit so we can see the, well, not just the light bulb, but
Okay,
the
hold on. Let
how
me
you're
see if I
putting it
can.
in the water?
Okay, putting in the jug right
Oh,
there.
you put it in the jug and it turned on the
Uh-huh.
light.
Correct.
Wow. What if
Okay,
you put
so
it in regular water?
I'm going to put it right now. I'll put it in Aquafina. A little
Uh-huh.
tricky here, but let me put it in and then hold it up. Okay, it's in
And it doesn't
Aquafina.
light up.
No light.
Wow. So that I
Okay.
remember when you first did that for me, I was just
Hmm.
blown away that
Hmm.
water has the charge and can actually turn on the light bulb.
Yes. And so then it just for further
Yeah.
supports, we are electrical beings. So we need to have electrical,
Yeah.
anything that's going to refurbish our electrical charge, right?
Right. So for
Yeah.
anyone who's just listening on the podcast, if you want to actually see the light bulb turn on, go to YouTube. I'll put the link in there so that you can actually see
I
it
didn't even
because it's
remember it was
pretty,
on YouTube. So I love that
yeah.
yeah, that's so great.
Well, it's
So
pretty
yeah.
amazing, I think, to actually just see that you've stuck it in the water and it makes the light bulb go on. And it just makes sense that there's a charge. And that's so
Hmm.
the charge is actually what is turning the electrons on in is that, what is
Hmm.
it?
Yes, it's recharging our cells. Exactly.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so it's really interesting too, Sheila, people that have disease, will use cancer and diabetes and things like that. Their charge is low.
Oh,
So isn't that
okay.
interesting? Yeah.
Yes.
So that's our goal is to have a healthy process that recharges it.
Really, it makes sense. Think of a battery, right? If
Hmm.
we've drained our battery over 40, 50, 60 years,
Yep.
it's like our immune system is low, our charge is low, then we're more susceptible to all these diseases,
Hmm.
right? So it's
Correct.
not about being one thing that's going to cure it and make it go away. It's kind of like you need to increase your charge. You need to remove some of these toxins, take them out of the bucket, right? So that
Exactly.
your bucket's not overflowing and turning into physical disease.
Yeah,
That's how I like to think
exactly.
of it.
Exactly. And then you know what I'll do, Sheila? I'll grab my chart. I'm going to see if
Yeah.
just see it. When we were talking about the donation, I don't know if we can see it
Yeah.
or not, but
Yes. Hold it up.
see how I've got the one that's red. And
Uh-huh.
so that's what our body does to protect us. This is what our cells do that's so ingenious. They, particularly to protect our organs from herbicides, pesticides, toxins, stress, etc. Our cells build this fat layer around it. It's called a lipid layer.
Uh-huh.
And it protects our organs. The trade-off is that lipid layer does not allow water, hormones, oxygen, etc., into our bodies. And importantly,
Oh,
it doesn't allow toxins out. So, and
right.
it's missing a negative electron. Okay.
Okay.
So now with this water, it donates, the fat is removed. It's just semi-porous. Now, nutrients, hormones, water, oxygen can get in and toxins can get out. So that's
Wow.
why, as you're continually drinking this, you're always removing those toxins on a continual basis.
Right. And that's just the difference. It's just the electron that makes all the difference in that fat layer.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, so that
Exactly.
leads me to, so you are a certified functional nutrition counselor. So
Correct.
what's your approach being to help people with these diseases or people who come in and they don't know what's wrong? Maybe they have a
Yeah,
health
yeah.
history.
Sometimes I get people like that. So basically, I have a course that I've started because this water is so foundational and so helpful. And what it does is it does change what the colon looks like. I mean, we have pictures from Dr. Shinya, who was the original creator of the colonoscopy from Japan. I was not present with the company at that time. He came here to Los Angeles about 13 years ago, and
Mhm.
he brought 200 pictures of colons. Good heavens, right?
Yeah.
And they were up in Los Angeles in this convention center. There were 1,500 other doctors and then, public and practitioners, et cetera. All he did was stand and turn one picture to the next, just showing, and many of them were people with cancer. And he just showed how different their colons look when they were on this water. And I have one of those pictures here
Wow. So, okay.
because all disease starts in the colon.
Yes, yes. So then, but what about you? You have so many other modalities too. So do you just kind of recommend that people layer different modalities? They start with water and then try other things? Or are
Yeah,
you
there can
seeing,
be a couple of
yeah.
different ways. Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at, what can I do for my health? We now know that in the 1850s, the average person ate 5 pounds of sugar for the entire year.
Mhm.
And nowadays, we eat 175 pounds of sugar per person per year.
And that's refined sugar, not fruit sugar, right?
Right. Right,
Hmm.
exactly. So obviously, if we could just start with that, being aware of how, and turning things around and looking at how much sugar there is in what we're eating.
Hmm.
The other thing that people have heard about a lot is our wheat has been destroyed. And
Hmm.
so most people are realizing their gut issues, et cetera, are really related to the wheat that we have. And so if people could at minimum go gluten-free, that's a
Hmm.
starting place, but I don't even eat that much gluten-free bread because it doesn't have enough fiber in it.
Hmm.
But those are still just good starting places. And then for some people, the dairy. So
Hmm.
most people know if they're dairy sensitive, but if you can just start to give the body a break, start with one thing. And if you
Hmm.
know your biggest one is sugar, then start with that. I always say start small, feel some success, and then build from there. And obviously, the water is critical if you have a way to um, change that in your life too.
Right. But besides diet, I know that you have a lot of other tools in your shop, at least, that are more
Mhm.
like energy. Would you say it's energy medicine?
Yes, I would say if somebody said, "What are you really?" I would say I am a cell sister, CELL,
Oh,
because I'm all about the cell. This
okay.
the water changes the cell, okay?
Uh-huh.
And then within my store, I have some other I guess we could call them biohacks. Would you call them
Yeah.
biohacks, Sheila? But anyway,
Yeah.
there I've got this Vibrogenics that's amazing machine. I mean, I can kind of turn. I think you can kind of see
Can
it right
see
here.
it.
It's kind of in
Oh,
its little
yes.
heart. It's all reflective. And
Yes.
Sheila is faithful to this machine. You can't see it very well, sorry.
Yes.
But what that does is that recharges every single cell in the body. So
Mhm.
it's amazing. It has over 2,000 settings on it. So I've got a gentleman with prostate cancer that comes in and uses it 3 days a week. And I just have people with emotional trauma. So they
Mhm.
come in and use it. And so, yeah, this is a great one. And then I have Brain Tap. So that's changing what's happening in your vagus nerve and just calming your trauma, the trauma that has
Mhm.
been going on in your life.
Mhm.
So, yeah. And we've got a couple other things that we have here. So, yeah, we've got some fun stuff that we
Well,
do.
and I love that on that TV screen behind you that you have that you hook people up to the brain tap and then you hook them up to the measures their heart rate variability
Mhm.
and it can
Exactly.
show them actually the anxiety that's in their brain. It turns
Yep.
red and then it turns green. So I think that's really helpful because I think sometimes with this, energy stuff or energy medicine or sound healing or,
And
yeah,
it's
like
not, it doesn't look real.
well, people are expecting a
Yeah.
pill to cure them, right? Like I have a headache, take a pill, the headache goes
Mhm.
away. So if you have any sort of chronic condition and you're wanting to do one thing to then make it go away, right?
Right.
And I feel like so many of these modalities are layers of support.
It's
And depending
exactly.
on how your whatever your condition is and whatever your toxicity level is and whatever your home environment is, it all plays it's all an important different factors in your ability to heal. What's your emotional stress like? It's kind of
Right.
all, it's not going to be one thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
So,
where what Sheila's pointing to on the TV. So we've got a test that we can run that's actually part of our brain tap.
mhm,
And it's really fascinating because it does show your stress level, but it also shows your biological age. And that's what so many people relate to. And they go, oh my gosh. And so we get people here that are unbelievable. They're 20 years younger than their actual age. And then we have other people that are actually some years over their actual age, and they don't ever like that, but it lets them know, okay, I've got to start cleaning up. I've got to have some change going on here. So yeah, so we're
well,
able to test people here.
I do think it's a light bulb moment for a lot of people to see it on the screen and go, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, my brain is black and red, and that's why I can't sleep at night, or that's why,
Right,
right?
exactly,
That's why I'm in a
exactly.
bad mood all the time. Like to see it and then to like just do the brain tap for a week or two and then notice
Mhm.
visible change. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, and I was sleeping better. So sometimes I think, your body knows what equilibrium's supposed to feel like. So I think
Mhm.
when you're off of that, that's why it just feels so bad because you're like, this isn't right. I'm not supposed to feel like this.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, so it's layering these things in, and that's
hmm
why, but this is why the water was always once I understood it, it will always be my major goal, my major starting place with
hmm
people. And then as you know, because you've been part of it, so I also do a course,
hmm
and it's amazing because I found that functional nutrition was very helpful and I liked it a lot, but it wasn't going deep enough to help people. And
hmm
so I've created a course that is foundational. So we get down to the real issues that are blocking a person from healing and repairing. And so within this course, what we do is we get your drainage working, because if your body can't remove the toxins efficiently, you're not going to do well. And so that's the first part of it. And then we help people with mold, because everybody has toxin mold. It doesn't mean that you lived in it now, but you could have had it in college, you could have had it in work, at a friend's house visiting, it doesn't matter. But mold is really a very serious toxin. It's very challenging for the brain with people that have mold issues. And so once we get the mold removed, then we remove the parasites. Now we have to have parasites, but it's about having them in balance, but they feed off of the mold. And so
hmm
everything is done in sequence. And so then when we get a pretty good job going on the parasites, then we dive into the heavy metal, because the heavy metal is tough to remove and it hides deep in the fat. But as you know, Sheila, because she was part of our program, we've had really surprising and exciting success from it. We had one client recently. She did take our mold tester to her home that she has in Hawaii, and sure enough, there was mold in the basement.
hmm
And when she went to the doctor about 7 months ago, a very popular doctor that we have here in our area, he did a mold test on her and her score was 15. You're healthy on the mold test if it's 1.8 or lower. So
Oh,
her
and
mold
she had
level was,
15.
she had a 15. Wow.
Wow.
And in particular, she had one called orchrotoxin, which is really interferes with how the brain functions. And so we said, well, what did he say? He said, go make sure you stay on mold-free coffee and don't do corn chips, do potato chips.
That's all?
That was it.
And he expected her body, because your body, will it naturally get rid of mold, or do you have
No,
to?
you
Okay.
have to have, but you have to have the right tools to do it. You've got to have
hmm
the right supplements. So she willingly, and she was such a great person. She joined our program and followed things faithfully. And she did sauna with it, which was such a brilliant idea. And
hmm
then we retested her, and her mold went from 15 to less than 1.
Wow. And so how is she feeling? Like, what is the benefit
I,
she's noticing in her body?
I just think I need to go and talk with her more recently to see
hmm
where she is. But I think she just feels uplifted and balanced. You know, she
hmm
is a person that was more recently diagnosed with bipolar. Isn't that
hmm
fascinating that the
hmm
mold and the bipolar? I swear there's a correlation. So I know that she's definitely feeling better. I just need to recheck with her more
Hmm.
recently, see how she's doing. But on top of that, Sheila, her lead was way off the scale. I can't remember because I can't remember what it was on the chart. And sure enough, her lead dropped almost to normal. So
Wow.
those two on the test, we saw a crazy difference with.
That's incredible. And I will say too that, I had my metals tested years ago and I didn't have, like they said, there were no metals, but I think it's because they were testing them in my blood. And learning from you, you were saying the metals hide out in fat. So even if
Hmm.
you get certain tests, not all tests are the same. And they
Correct.
might be testing. So I didn't have any floating heavy metals in my blood at that time I was tested,
Hmm.
but it doesn't
Correct.
necessarily mean that I don't have heavy metals in my brain tissue or anything like that.
Exactly, exactly. That's why we actually encourage people to not pay to be tested beforehand because we all know we have this.
Hmm.
Um, but to wait, go through the cleanse, and again, obviously, people that are on the water even have way better results, which is so exciting.
Hmm.
Then test and see where you are, knowing
Hmm.
that it's stirring the pot. So sometimes,
Hmm.
depending where you are, it actually can look like you have more, but
Hmm.
it just means that's what's being tested in that moment in your body.
Hmm.
But then the
Yeah,
next week or 2 or 3 weeks, it could be actually pulling that out. So
right.
it's a journey, but anyway, it's really exciting to see the differences with people with that. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's really
and
interesting.
it's pretty much a gut course. Like I
Correct.
focusing on the gut. Um,
Yeah, because
Fungus
all
is one of those
disease,
things too,
yeah,
right?
all
Yeah.
disease starts in the gut. So what it does is all of these things I've talked about, they interfere. Whatever happens to the gut happens to the brain
Hmm.
simultaneously. So if you've got
Hmm.
leaky gut, you've got leaky brain.
Hmm.
So we have to get the gut cleared up. We have to get these toxins moved out. And even a single cell in our body has what is called receptor sites, and they can have
Hmm.
up to 20,000 receptor sites. And
Hmm.
those receptor sites are what take in the hormones, the nutrients, etc. So when we have this mold and parasites and heavy metals, they are blocking our receptor sites. You can kind of
Hmm.
think of it like NASA and the docking stations. It's the
Hmm.
same type of thing. So
Hmm.
you can't, how do you heal and repair when all your docking sites, your receptor sites are all blocked?
Hmm.
So our goal is to offload all these toxins so we can open up the functionality of the receptor sites.
How would someone know if they have leaky gut?
They're going to know if they've got if they have fatigue, if they have issues with brain, if they have problems with um, endurance, their stomach. They can tell that they've got issues digesting. If they have anxiety and depression, almost 100% it's leaky gut.
Hmm.
At least 80% of the population has leaky gut. It's
Hmm.
really, really prevalent. It's hard not to have it because of our toxin load.
Well, and maybe you can explain what is leaky gut? As I understand it, it was like things passing through the lining, getting into the
Exactly.
bloodstream. Is that what it is?
Is exactly what it is. So our stomach lining to start with it's one cell in thickness between our blood and our stomach lining. Okay,
Hmm.
one cell in thickness. So what happens is these toxins break a hole through that. You can think of it like cheesecloth. Okay,
Hmm.
so it ends up opening. We have what are called these little villi, these little fingers, and when those junctions are tight, then our stomach does fine. It's able to process, and we don't have these toxins passing through that lining. So it's
Hmm.
the passing through of those junctions that create leaky gut. And what that is it throws out an alarm to our autoimmune that says, oh my gosh, villains are here, villains are here. So then it
Hmm.
just creates havoc within our whole body. So yeah,
Right,
it's a
because you have a
whole
whole bunch of
sequence.
like your army white cells going after chicken that's in your
Exactly.
or
Which normally
that.
shouldn't be a problem, but it passed through the barrier where it shouldn't have passed.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. So does that mean does that explain why so many people are having allergic reactions to things that they weren't allergic to before?
precisely. And that's also why I stopped doing testing for food allergies.
Mm.
I laughed because I
Mhm.
looked at what the results were and I went, well, wait, that is exactly what I've been eating heavy. And I went,
Yeah.
okay, then I'll get off my spinach and I'll get off the things that it said. And then I did it again in 3 months. I changed my eating. And then all of a sudden the test results showed brand new things. And I went, oh, those are what I'm eating right now. So that's
Oh,
when I
you're
realized,
like,
okay,
whatever I eat.
yes. Then I went, okay, these tests are not viable. So I'm not a big fan of those.
Yeah. Okay, so for someone who's feeling stuck in their health journey, what's one thing that they can do today to start making progress, in your opinion?
Start with things that you actually think you can do. I think the biggest mistake people make is they want to make this enormous leap and they're going, okay, I'm going to start. I only go, I only walk 2 days a week. I'm going to start walking all seven. No, start small and start with something you know you're going to keep up with. Start with something that you actually enjoy as far as exercise.
Hmm.
And definitely start to look at the sugar that has become such so impactful to our bodies. And so many of us have what they call our diabetic three, and that is
Hmm.
what's happening is the sugar's creating a huge amount of dementia and Alzheimer's. So definitely pull back off on that sugar as much as possible. Do some honey and just stay with your fresh fruits, particularly your berries and things like that. That can be one thing,
Hmm.
or two things you can kind of work on those things. Are you thinking of anything else, Sheila?
Well, do you think that like people should do a keto diet, or does it depend on the person, or
If
what?
there was a diet that would change us, we'd all be on the same diet.
Hmm.
So diet cannot change things. Okay,
Hmm.
that isn't the problem. And the diet isn't changing what's happening to our cells. Now, it can help clear up some toxins and that type of
Hmm.
thing, but yeah, diet isn't what it's really all about. It's really lifestyle and offloading these toxins. And
Hmm.
obviously, yes, you should eat as much organic as possible and that type of thing. But that's why I don't touch the food part of it, except for the sugar, dairy, and gluten.
Right. Well,
Otherwise
I just
you
feel
have
like it's just
balance.
one segment, right? We've put so much emphasis on diet and exercise, and while they are definitely important, you got to move your body and you got
Mhm.
to eat healthy vegetables and healthy food. It's not, people are stuck in their health journey because they're just focusing maybe on just those two things, and there's so many other elements.
Correct. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
wish I could say, and I've tried pretty much all the diets, nothing ever changed. So I can confirm that exactly. So yeah,
What have you found to be with your clients like the biggest misconception that people have about healing?
probably the same one I had, that I was going to find the right doctor. And
Hmm.
I was going to find the magic pill, or if I did the most newest biohack, if I cold plunge, I'm going to get better. Everything that's bothering me is going to go away. And so
Hmm.
I would definitely say that's the biggest thing, that it isn't that.
Hmm.
And for me and for working with the clients, what I'm seeing is definitely getting on the right water, but also removing these layers of toxins slowly and
Hmm.
at your pace can
Hmm.
make an incredible difference. This is when I get to hear such satisfying results from people. I
Hmm.
mean, it's super, super satisfying. So yeah, get some foundational work going for sure.
I do think I always like to envision it as like a bucket of like your immune system's kind of like a bucket. And we put
Hmm.
all these toxins in over the years, and eventually it's overflowing, and then you don't have it, your immune system's just not functioning well to fight off things, so then you get chronic disease or some sort of disease.
Hmm.
So if we can just start removing those layers, removing toxins and building up a better foundation, then we have a strong immune system that is supposed to be able to fight off stuff. I feel like we're not meant to be just eating only certain types of food for the rest of our lives. We're not
Hmm.
meant to be so rigid in how we live our lives. Like we're supposed to be able to do so many things, but I just think when you're exposed to so many toxins and your cup's overflowing or your bucket's overflowing,
Right.
that's when we're like realizing, oh gosh, we got to do something about it.
Exactly. And it does depend on the person. I'm a teacup.
Yeah.
So I literally have to sleep real well. I have to eat really the right foods. I
Hmm.
cannot go off my little fence that I'm on. I'm pretty tight. Where my husband's
Hmm.
the bucket.
Yeah.
He's the one that gets away with murder and used to drive me nuts. So yeah, you have to honor where you are in that process too. So yes, totally. But I get it. It's those things that are going to, in the long term, make the biggest change in you when you realize we are such toxic buckets. I mean, they're saying now that there's over 700,000 to 1.2.1 million toxins that we have to deal with daily. I mean,
Oh
that's
my gosh.
that's an unconscionable number.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy. But I don't want people to go, oh my gosh, there's no way. No, there totally is a way. You just
Hmm.
start slow. and you
Mm-hmm.
just stay consistent and you just start to be aware, and if
Mm-hmm.
this is something that you're thinking water wise you want to look into, I would just encourage you to reach out to me because there's so much misconception about these water ionizers out there.
Mm-hmm.
And when this company came, the one from Japan came here in 2003, there were no other ionizers in the United States. There were some in Europe, but they weren't that effective. And they were in an office in Los Angeles that was 20 by 20. And
Mm-hmm.
now they're out to 47 countries around the world. So
Wow.
there's something to it, right?
Right.
Yeah, but
Well,
you do need to do some homework on it.
yeah. So for those people who are listening who are not in Solana Beach, can they reach out to you? Can you help them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can help them, depending, not 100%, but pretty good. Sometimes I can find people that have their machines in areas where they live and I can connect where they can get a water sample.
Mm-hmm.
We have 8 headquarters alone in United States.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and if not, I can definitely help them. Yeah, help people in other countries or anybody in the United
And then
States.
what about your coaching and your courses and things? Is that just available for locals or do you help
No,
people?
all people from anywhere.
Yeah. So Zoom calls, you've got courses online, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
People can
Yeah, I'm
take at
just
their pace.
starting a new course January 6th.
Oh, great. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that. So is it one-on-one or what is it
Yeah.
like?
So it's usually it's in a group because most people will start to see this more and more. But what we're finding is rather than, going to your doctor and spending your 7 minutes with your doctor and really walking out and some instances feeling like, well, maybe this is going to help me. We're learning that people heal in community much better.
Mhm.
So going forward, this is going to be how people actually start to repair. And
Mhm.
so by that means we've got other people that are on and they get an opportunity to share, they get an opportunity to ask questions. And as you listen to them, you're learning. And that's what we
Mhm.
found with the groups that we've been working with. And
Mhm.
it's incredibly successful, very, very satisfying. So, yeah, it's
Well, and I
community.
found just even being on part of your course, for some people who are shy and don't necessarily want to partake, it's super helpful, or they've said it's super helpful to just listen to the other people talk about their problems. And because they might have the same issue and they're like, oh my gosh, somebody just asked my question,
Mhm.
and then it gets answered for them.
Yeah. And not only that, they'll be family members or friends and they'll go, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, I've got to let Tina know about this. I got to let
Mm-hmm.
John know about this, etc. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been, I mean, just to give you an example, we had 2 clients, interesting, at the same time that had been come into our store. And one woman and the man himself, both of them, kind of in the same age bracket, had horrible mold toxicity. And they both complained about the same thing. They couldn't think, they couldn't concentrate. They had severe fatigue, and both of them privately and separately admitted to myself and my daughter that they actually didn't want to continue on the earth. And that was
Oh,
just mortifying to us. So we both said to them, would you please just join our course? Would you just,
yeah.
come join? We're going to hold your hand. We'll do this together. And thankfully, the young woman, she was down to, I think, 3 to 5 foods that she could eat. So now she is dating again. She is working again. She's eating a bunch of different food. I mean, she's
It's changed her
vibrant.
life.
She changed her life. And
Yeah.
the gentleman, his name is Jim, same type of thing. He goes, I just want energy to play with my 7-year-old.
Mm.
And he actually, the day that he came in, that we said, would you, please join our course, he was wanted to go see a psychologist. He said, I can't live like this anymore. I need so much
Mm.
help. I just can't stand it. And so I happened to call him 3 weeks after, I texted him 3 weeks after he was on our course, and he was heading up on an 8-hour drive to meet some friends and go fishing. And I texted him, I said, how you doing? And he goes, you're never going to believe this. He goes, I always take a pillow and a blanket with me because I cannot drive more than 3 hours. I have to stop and take a nap for an hour. He goes, I drove 8 hours. I made it all the way there. He goes, I'm actually eating food that has gluten and I'm actually doing okay. And the friend that I'm with, he's got so much brain fog. I'm realizing I'm making a heck of a lot more sense than him. So it was so fun and so satisfying. Both those 2
Yeah.
people have worked with them and, watched them get their life back. Super, super satisfying. And that's why I do this.
Yeah. Well, gosh, thank you so much, Robin. That's so amazing. If we could leave the listeners with one piece of advice for living vibrantly, what would that be?
Find what fills you up.
Hmm.
Find what fills you up. Because when you are happy with what you are doing,
Hmm.
it's easier to heal, you know?
Okay.
And you can even also have more energy to bring other people into healing.
Hmm.
So it doesn't matter what you choose. If you're a person that loves to quilt, but you've never really reached out to get quilting with people, or you love to play chess, or you thought about pickleball, you kind of like to do it, but you're not sure, it doesn't matter. Okay. Find what fills you up and find the community that shares your heart.
Hmm.
And when that happens, magic can happen. So start with that. That's a huge, terrific starting place.
Yeah, well, you've done that brilliantly. I mean, I love that we call your water store like the watering hole
Yeah.
because everybody there is searching for healing and everybody's just so
Mhm.
wonderful. And we come in and we just are filling up our cups with your water. And I just think it's so foundational. And so all your journey of learning all these new things and bringing in the biohacking things, I just think have just been so helpful. And for me, especially, and for I think the people that come into your shop. So I appreciate you so much. So thank you.
You're so welcome, and thanks for having me on. And then, so Sheila, if they want to just go check out my website, it's
Mm-hmm.
Lifetime Water SB, which stands for Solana Beach. So
Okay.
lifetimewatersb.com.
Uh-huh.
And they'll find my email. I think even my phone number is on there. They
Okay.
can also just email me if they need more information, ROCOLVEY @gmail.com. And they can either ask me some more water questions, or they can ask me about my course, or whatever they want. And if they live locally, they can come in and get 2 weeks of free water, and they can
Yeah.
try out all our little systems here for free. So that'll be kind
Yeah.
of fun.
Yeah. Well, I do know for sure, and your website has so much information, and your daughter
Got a
Taylor
lot.
is also a functional health coach, and she has
Yeah,
great information on there too. So go check out the website for sure.
super. Hey, Sheila, thank you so much. We love you, and I'll see you here on your Vibrogenics in a little while, all right?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you
Sounds
so
great.
much.
Thanks, son, for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. I really hope you enjoyed the conversation we had with Robin. And just to close it off, we did talk about her water machine, but we didn't really explain the differences in the water machines. And so Robin just gave me this how to figure out what the best ionizer is. It's a free download or PDF. And so I'm just gonna show it to you real quick. It's, is your water helping or hurting you? And it talks a little bit about how plastic water bottles are not great. Reverse osmosis water actually um, doesn't keep the good minerals in there. So you don't want to just be drinking that water. And then there's this whole alkaline water fad that's happening right now. And a lot of manufacturers are putting just like baking soda or salt in the water. And so that's not really the same as alkalinized or ionized hydrogen water. So, if you're wanting to know how to choose a quality water ionizer, download this free PDF from her because they're not all created equal. And you want to make sure that you get one that has medical grade plates and, has multiple pH levels, among a bunch of other things. So, I'm going to put the link down below where you can get this. And for sure, you can email her at ROCOLVEY @gmail, and she'll email it to you. But thanks so much again for listening, and I hope you grab this free PDF and that you can get some hydrogen water yourself. Thanks.